Hello, welcome to Skull RPG Podcast. My name's Dwight Skull.
My name's Jacob Skull.
And today we're going to teach you how to tell your story.
So, Dwight, how would you kidnap somebody?
Well, since we're on a podcast, this is totally not how I would really kidnap somebody.
Yes, in game, of course.
For the FBI swoop in on my house. So kidnapping is, so normally it's kind of rescue on its head. We'll talk about rescue in the next episode, but kidnapping is where your players are needed to basically take somebody out of the game. And I don't mean kill them or anything like that. I mean, like, you need to actually kidnap somebody for things to work. So let me give you a for instance that I found really good. There is a 1978 movie that is on Amazon Prime when I'm recording this. And it's called The First Great Train Robbery. It stars Sean Connery and Donald Sutherland, very young Sean Connery and a very young Donald Sutherland, because 1978 was the year I was born. So this is 42 years ago, and or longer, depending on when you listen to this. And here's the deal. What I really liked about this is the strict timelines that they had to do. They had to get 4 sets of keys. They couldn't steal the keys. They had to make a wax imprint of the keys so they could make the keys. The keys went to 4 locks in a safe that literally was the entire car of a train. And that was where England would put all their gold shipments in once a week. And it's based actually on a true story. And so, and I think it's, if you want to read the book, it's The Great Train Robbery by Michael Crichton. It's a great book. Highly recommend it. Yes, I'm an avid reader. If you haven't listened to this podcast and realize I'm recommending a lot of books and a lot of things, I'm an avid reader. So I read more than I watch. Anyway, that said, what they do is they have this really cool moment where 2 of the keys are in the train station, but there's a guard that literally sits at the bottom of the stairs that you need to go up to get to where these keys are locked. There's a skylight above, and you can't, what they did in the movies, they had to break a guy out of jail to sneak into the skylight above, open a door, get the lock open for the guy to make the keys, to run across the entire train station, up the stairs, in there, make the wax settings, and run back, while the guard takes his literally 2-minute and 20-second bathroom break at 3 in the morning every single night. And so you can imagine how much fun you can have as a DM with what could possibly go wrong during those moments and how they might get out of it. And by the way, if you watch the movie, and I highly recommend you do, you get this sort of the same kind of thing happening there as well. You know, does the door try to open on its own? Does it, does the guard come back early this one time? All these things. Do you trip going up the stairs? Do you make too much noise? I mean, there's all these things you can do. So in a kidnapping, you're like, what does that have to do with kidnapping? Well, in a kidnapping, you have the same sort of thing. I would make your players literally try to figure out the comings and goings of the guy or gal that you're trying to kidnap. They also need a plan for how to subdue quietly that person and move them into a place where they can't be found. And then they got to hold that location, I'm assuming, so that it can't be found. So what I would do is I would create basically the target, whoever they're trying to kidnap, I would create their schedule every single day for a week. Now, some things you're going to do daily, right? Every day you're going to get up at around a certain time. You're going to have breakfast at around a certain time. And remember, here's the fun part. If you're doing this in fantasy or even in modern or even in the future, you're not kidnapping peasants. Typically, you're going to kidnap people of power and means, which means that they have power and means, which means that they have guards with them, which means that they have very certain set schedules as well. And it also means somebody's preparing their food for them. Somebody's taking them to where they want to go. So they have drivers, they have chauffeurs, they have cooks. Could you bribe a cook to slip something in his meal so that he passes out during the ride to his whatever he's doing in the afternoon, right? His meeting with commerce in the afternoon. Could you bribe one of the chauffeurs at that point to maybe make an unexpected stop for your people to come in and grab the body out of the cab or whatever? I mean, so all these things you can think about doing that could look like as simply as bribing the right people. Of course, bribing the wrong people means that you're caught.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, I would suggest that you literally figure out their schedule and then basically make the players start rolling to determine how well they can determine the schedule. And then when they have a plan, what their plan is and how their plan is going to work, given the time constraints you've already built in. And then don't be afraid to add some really weird little twists and turns along the way once they thought they had their plan figured out. Because maybe the third Tuesday of every month, he gets an extra 3 guards. And that third Tuesday just happened to be the time that your players were going to take him out.
Or for whatever reason, he was a little bit more paranoid that time, so he had more guards.
Right. And the other thing, too, is like if they had a fail attempt, which could happen, maybe they're not caught, but now maybe all the stuff goes haywire. And it's really good to do these kidnappings on a time frame. They only have so much time to get in and do it, because if they don't do it by a certain time, the rest of their plan is messed up, right? So we have to get this guy in our custody in 5 days. So we can't do a full scope out for the week. We're going to have to scope what he does for the first 3 days and hope that's enough.
Mm-hmm.
So that is how I would do a kidnapping. A lot of it just deals with their schedule and then letting your players determine how they want to interact with the schedule, and then just rolling with those punches to find out, well, maybe they can bribe the guard, or maybe they can't bribe the guard. Maybe they do bribe the guard, but the guard has also double-crossed them, right? And you can see our episode on spies, and this is kind of fits into that same genre. Just because you thought you paid somebody well doesn't mean they didn't take your money and then also told somebody who pays them also well to do something.
Yep.
So, that's how I do kidnapping.
Hey, thanks for listening.
And for more resources, please go to skullrpg.com.